Hi, everybody. This is Anthony Burrows, your host for Life and Finances with Sacrifice and Service. My goal for today is to help those persons who don't fully understand money on the spiritual level to gain that knowledge. When God said that He wishes for us to prosper and be in health, I understand it to mean that financial freedom is part of the divine plan and as such is God's idea for man. Of course, He wishes that we would own things, but at the same time, those things not owning us. So, the topic of exploration today is how to get the most out of your money. I know just the mention of money causes some to start squirming, especially those who are frequent churchgoers. Just maybe it is our unwillingness to face the massive challenges of the handling of money that's led to many of us living paycheck to paycheck, week to week. And recently I've been told that there are persons who exist day to day who actually have jobs. If you happen to be existing in any of these situations, don't despair. The God of heaven and His Son, Jesus the Christ, has a better way, and it can begin today. We are never too old or too young to be led to a turnaround point in our lives. You may be a old age pensioner. If that's where your situation has you, then your financial freedom journey begins right there. Or maybe a retiree with a fixed NIB pension. That's as good a place as any to commence your financial freedom walk. Reflect on God as your supplier, trust Him for your income, and be rid with the fear of loss and losing out. Let me tell you, when it comes to the handling of finances, I've made all of the stupid blunders. So that's why I'm trying to get some of us now not to make those same mistakes. And it's never no time like this time to start something new. The Holy Spirit has revealed through local community data that as people, most of us are in the financial wilderness. It was revealed that 90% of Bahamians with a bank account has less than $1,000 in it. According to the last Bahamian household survey carried out during 2018, the average household income at the time was $31,000 per annum. Now note that's per household. With COVID-19, I'm certain it's far less now. However, I read another document which I can't fully recall right now, stating that the average per person income for Bahamians was $33,000 per annum. I won't go into the poverty level income and things like that. That's an entirely different show. So for the past 10 years, it means that the average Bahamian earned $330,000 and still there's less than $1,000 in their bank account. I know while we are living, life happens to us. People get sick, all sorts of things happen. And I can tell you about that. So I will now go into how you can get the most out of your money. Number one, get a budget. On a piece of paper, write down your life and financial goals for 1 year, 3 years, and 5 years. If goals aren't written down, then it's just wishful thinking which floats off into space. By writing them down, it becomes your compass on today's tech-driven world, your GPS. After writing down the goals, let's count the costs. Now, Jesus spoke of a man building a tower who was unable to complete it because he ran out of money. So counting the cost means establishing a budget. Undisciplined people don't like the word budget because they think of it as a hindrance or a handcuff. Really and truly, a budget is only a financial plan with a set time as to how you intend to divide up or utilize your money in regards to the goals you've already set. The budget tells you whether those goals can be achieved, and sometimes it tells us, hey, your income is too small. Maybe you need to go out and find another job. Or it can also point to those financial leakages that a lot of us have in our wallet / for ladies' purses that's keeping you from your financial freedom, like those $12 daily lunches and $4 breakfasts. So your budget is not a prison, but a liberating device. If you stick with it, you can repair your finances and it can guide you to smooth sailing. A balanced budget is where your intake, and there are three kinds of budgets. Now, the balanced budget is where your intake is the same as the outflow. I imagine that about 30% of Bahamians fall into this category. At the end of each month, they don't owe anybody, but there's nothing left for them and nothing went into their savings. Should an unexpected emergency arise, they'll have to beg from a friend or borrow from a parent to tide them over. Now, the second kind of budget is a deficit budget. And this is the one that I would say at least 60% of working Bahamians exist. In this type of budget, you are spending more than you are taking in. This form of budgeting is common to all of our previous governments and is a worldwide epidemic. When it comes to money, governments are like wildfires. No amount of spending will ever satisfy. The money tree in the backyard for them is to raise taxes to make up any shortfalls. However, we everyday citizens don't have the luxury of a tax money tree, so we must stick to our budget. The third type of budget, and the music to my ear kind of budget, is the surplus budget, which means your intake exceeds what's going out. Imagine as a nation we had a surplus budget. For this COVID-19, we'd be able to close our borders for 2 years while paying off every able-bodied adult $500 a week. A surplus budget puts you in control of your life, not in the form of self-reliance, but it's just knowing that you've followed godly financial principles that opens your eyes to all of God's possibilities for your life. So if you haven't already done so, please get to it and construct a budget. Number 2, oh my goodness, don't hang your basket higher than you can reach. That was the old folks' way of saying, live within your means. Living within your means consists of 1, knowing your income. That's precisely how much you're taking in. 2, spend less than you earn. Now, credit cards and loans, these allow you to spend more than you've earned. And if you don't have control, I tell people, take the credit cards, drop it in a cup of water and stick that cup of water in the deep freeze. And the card will be okay. It wouldn't mess with the strip or anything. The third item is plan your meals ahead of time. This way you avoid the sudden, hey, let's run to Bamboo. The fourth item is pack your lunch. Oh, I can tell you about this. I know there was a time some years ago, I used to pack my lunch every day, but one day I just got bored. Went down Bay Street, spent $10, and went another day and did that for about 3 months. Then it hit me. I sat down and realized, oh my Lord, I'm spending $200 a month on lunch and I'm only making $1,200 a month. So I was spending like 16% of my monthly income on lunch. The fifth item under this is avoid impulse and emotional buying. Now, some people do this if they feel down and sad or something like that. They simply go out and put their spirits up by buying something and then regret it because when the bill comes due. If that's the case, I always tell someone, hey, just run by Mortimer's Candy Kitchen, go get a pack of peanut, one candy, or some of their popcorn, which is very cheap. And that's not intended to be an ad for them, but it's a Bahamian entity. The next item is stop keeping up with the Joneses. You see that big house, nice car and things that they have? That could have been a gift from a parent, a grandparent, or these people ran into a big will. So don't follow your neighbors across the way. The seventh item under this is explore the envelope method for monthly spending. So put yourself on a cash system, because with cash, it can be painful to just spend it like that. But the envelope method is you label envelopes at your pay period. One is for entertainment, one is for eating out, one is for whatever, gas and whatever. And when it's finished, and there's no more digging into the money. Number 3, put together a plan for paying off all of your debts. On a piece of paper, list all debts, inclusive of your mortgage, beginning with the lowest on up to the highest. Furniture store, credit cards, car payments, insurance company loans, etc. Write down the monthly payments and the loan balances. Beginning this month, if you are able to, place an extra amount on the principal of the loan with the lowest balance. Be certain to inform the person accepting the cash that your payment is for the principal only. This way, you will be eating into the actual loan amount. Remember, your normal payments are shared between the principal and the interest. So each principal payment means that the lender's interest shrinks, thereby shortening the loan and saving you money. After paying off that loan, you will then proceed to the next loan with the lowest balance. Only this time, the extra payment will be the monthly payment amount of the previous loans you paid off. Oh my goodness, resist the temptation to take out another loan. Seeing that one loan has ended, your intention is financial freedom, and by placing the previous monthly payment on the next loan, you'll be free before you know it. See, when persons do this, they are normally within 2 to 3 years, they come out into the clear. Now, some people are so deep in debt, and if you're one of those, you're in a situation where you aren't able to make any additional payments. If you have so many loans, the best idea is that look for a loan consolidation. And this is where, instead of having a multiple amount of payments, you just have one loan to a single institution. Now, before embarking upon that loan consolidation, I would suggest that you go to Life and Finances with Sacrifice and Service on YouTube and listen to the episode steps speaking of loan consolidation. Number 4. Oh, and this is so important. Commence with a savings plan. My financial philosophy has become pay yourself first. And I mean it in every sense of the word. Do you remember the research information from the beginning of our program? 90% of Bahamians have less than $1,000 in their bank accounts. And for most people, a bank account is just a place for their salary to pause momentarily before distribution. When you pay yourself first, you begin building a rainy day / emergency fund, which can become a source of comfort as you seek to accomplish your goals. Now, several persons have unequivocally told me that the concept of paying yourself first is unchristian and an act of selfishness. Let's imagine for a moment that most church-going people had been taught this concept from the pulpit, and the concept had become a pervasive spirit among the people. For every dollar that each church is now taking in, they would be collecting 10. And COVID-19 would have had no financial impact. This principle follows the law of gratitude spoken of by Florence Shinn. Out of appreciation, you put your share aside and then offer a sacrificial tithe and offering. The goal is to help God's people become financially literate, for thereby the gospel message would reach farther, faster. The Bible states that dishonest money dwindles away, but whoever gathers money little by little makes it grow. This here is the linchpin for paying yourself first. Given the spirit of the scriptures are, when you don't set money aside for that rainy day or for the future of your family, you are in violation of God's established natural laws, and as such can become a poor witness because persons see Jesus when they see you. Yes, Jesus in the form of a man was poor in terms of possessions. However, he didn't have a wife and children to take care of. Joseph is another example for paying yourself first. He had the nation of Egypt put away 20% of its food supply for the rainy day. The citizens didn't practice this principle. Therefore, when the rainy day or our case, the pandemic came, they ended up as virtual slaves. I'll hasten and go to a well-known prophet, especially among my fellow Adventists, and that is Sister Ellen White. Now, to my surprise, doing the research, she was a lady who understood money. You got people who could quote her verbatim, but they don't have a clue as to her manner of living. She owned at least 6 properties, of which 3 were income generators by way of rent. Her Napa Valley estate was 74 acres with a palatial mansion, complete with living quarters for her workers, fruit orchard, and livestock. While traveling, she would always go first class. And in those days, first class on a ship to anywhere was exquisite due to the low cost of labor at the time. She appreciated the value of rest and relaxation, for she was a frequent visitor to spas and health resorts. See, by so doing, she was more readily available for revelations from the Holy Spirit, and it also acted as a charge for her to have a clearer mind when it came for her writing. She always negotiated the highest possible royalty deals with her publishers, and she understood the value of a captive market and labor force. The colporteurs served as salesmen, and the members were guaranteed customers. Based on land ownership, rental income, and book royalties, it is estimated that Sister White in today's dollars would have a net worth of just over $3 million. And the thing is, there was no income tax in America at the time. So she was able to keep every dollar if she so desired. Now, I was unable to locate data or information regarding as to how much of her income was given to the church, but all researchers agreed that it was a substantial amount. And the final item, number 5, is become a generous giver. An individual who has followed a budget, spent less than they've earned, paid off their debts, and has a consistent saving plan is now able to be a generous giver. If you need a new bus, a youth group outing, or sponsor for an underprivileged child to attend private school, they are there. Now, many persons find it difficult to view themselves as a generous giver simply because they don't think of themselves as deserving of such blessings, especially when you look at our societal brainwashing, which says that only crooks and foreigners are wealthy. See, the goal of this presentation is for you to become financially free. Perish the thought that money is evil and anybody is entitled to it except you. What I find most fascinating among believers is that when I see the way we grapple with poverty, even though we have a consistent income, or the believer, for instance, who's out there bleaching his skin or making large monthly investments and getting their hair done so they can look like another ethnicity, or refuse to purchase local produced goods and services because they think it's inferior. Let's remember that money is a part of God's divine plan. Therefore, He expects for us to learn as much as possible about the handling of it. I have often heard preachers say that your value as a human being has nothing to do with what you do or what you have. Let us come to the realization that the God of heaven has put it in each of us, the necessary tools and insight to become financially free. My people perish for the lack of knowledge. Don't let this be the accusation level against you. Remember, if you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you like to win but think you can't, it's already a cinch you won't. That's an extract from Walter Wintel's poem, Thinking, which points to, as a man thinketh, so is he. May the God of heaven bless and prosper you.